didn't read everybody's comment in the chat. Sorry, that hardly ever happens, but it was um people coming home. And so, like I said earlier, I was like editing it together a video, so who knows if I'll ever actually put that up, because with a lot of videos that I make, I end up deleting them before I upload them because it's just not that interesting. I don't know if it's because I've spent hours watching myself say the same thing, editing it. But we were talking about a conservative influencer. Isabel Brown is her name, and she is somebody, she's 28 years old, and she already had a big YouTube channel. Like, clearly, she was already popular because she was at CPAC for a reason. She has a big following on different social medias, I'm sure, too. But she was recently at CPAC and said, I'm like talking to one person. I should wait until there's a little bit more people, but like she thinks everybody should have babies even if they can't afford it. So this opens up like so many topics. And one thing I did want to talk about tonight that I don't think I really mentioned much was Erica Kirk and the whole like Drewski drama, which kind of like these people that are wealthy conservatives. I don't think that there's anything wrong. Like, I think everybody should have mentors. That I bring up this a lot, and I learned it from Shallon, this YouTuber that's kind of controversial, but it is true. Like, I think ideally you date somebody that's like in the same life arena as you, right? And that could be an age gap. But that doesn't mean that you're literally twins. But like the same thing with mentorship. Like, everybody should have mentors. I think ideally women should have, you can have male and female mentors, but like ideally every woman has a good female mentor in their life. Oh, hey, Pyramid, how are you doing? Why'd you put that broken heart thing? What's going somebody else's channel who said people should have babies even if they can't afford it. Like, literally word for word, even if you can't afford it, start having those babies. And of course, it brings up a lot in a lot of people, myself included. And this is a common sentiment with conservatives. And Large Man Abroad, he's a pretty big YouTuber that does commentary, and I like his channel, but like months ago, he said nobody will really starve in our country because the churches will feed them. And I commented on his channel. I was like, no, I don't agree with that. This was months before the formula situation came out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a woman did a social experiment where she contacted churches and asked if they would pay for a can of baby formula, and the results were not what a lot of people would assume. And I was like, gonna speak for him, a large man abroad included. Like, he thought that churches would feed people. I know from being furloughed and calling around and asking for help from churches, churches could have a basement, literally like a store load of food in their basement. Seriously, have like enough food to feed like 1,000 people for a month in their basement, and they're still like stingy. Like, I don't know if I want to give a mother of three some food that's been out of work for 6 months. And like literally, we're in this, and I know we're not alone. Like, the middle class is dying, and there is such a thing as making barely too much money, but then you get kicked off Medicaid. You can't afford health insurance, but you don't qualify for Medicaid. We've been in that space for like years now. It's super frustrating. And I think it's great if you qualify for the help from the state. I think there's no shame in taking it. I'm glad that people can take it, but it seems like if you work making more than minimum wage, especially, like, they've got it set up to where, like, there's been times I applied for Medicaid and we were $400 over the income limit. But that $400 doesn't make us able to pay for health insurance, privately or even through a workplace. Most places we have worked, it takes too much from our income because we usually rely on one income. And I know so many people that do have health insurance through a work, that's like they both work, and like one big reason one of them works is because the benefits are so good at where they work. And like, I had great benefits at one factory that really was such a blessing, but most people don't have health insurance for $56 a month like we did. And I bet that's changed since then with the prices and everything that's happened in the last year. How could we expect a group of people who don't know the difference between a man and a woman to know the difference between a king and a president? Terp said, I don't know what you mean by that, because what are you saying by that term? I don't think I agree with you at all. I mean, okay, so that's another thing. Like, Isabel Brown brought up something about a woman. She literally equated being a woman to, well, that means you can have babies. That's what makes us women. No, that's not like what technically the body parts, but like not all women. I don't have a uterus anymore because I had a hysterectomy. I'm not less of a woman than a woman that has a uterus, right? And like, that's not what makes us being a woman is being an adult human female. It doesn't lie on whether or not you ever procreate, and use your body in that way to give life. And I think that that's really interesting. Insurance should be private. Slice, how are you doing, Slices? Hi, Kay Stein. How are you? Let your parents know I'm a fan of their work. Oh, that's funny, DJ. I will if I ever talk to either of them again. No, I don't do 360s on this channel. I'm not that kind of girl. But and then once again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. When I see somebody, in um I don't even wanna say using their but, like, they show their body, they know they have a nice figure. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, I don't. But hey, Fendi, how are you? I don't think it's right to make a career off of sex work. I am against that. That's why I think that conservative people are so interesting to me because I lean towards a lot of conservative values, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that I never was, like, holding to one side strictly and made my like I have to think like this side about everything all the time and never change my mind. And how are you doing, Fendi? I'm married, Kay Stein. My grandpa said grown men who collect Pokemon cards usually end up in prison for kid crimes. Oh, strange change. I'm sure there's some grown men that just like that shit. But yeah, D dog, I've been taking lots of magnesium, so I feel you. Well, it's not so much that is like just my tummy is rumbling all the time. But anyways, I am going crazy with the supplements. I bought a lot of supplements a year ago that I never used, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let these expire, and like, why not? So I take like literally, it's like 10 or 12 capsules a day. I break them up and put them in my collagen. Gosh, I am blanking really bad. What's that stuff that I take that starts with a C? Creatine mix. Hi, average. How are you? Um, I don't know what you mean, Megan. That's funny. My really good friend from childhood had her name spelled like that, and she's pronounced it Megan. Hey, Michelle, thanks for coming back. Thank you. I love you guys. Did you see the NASA launch today? No, I didn't, average dude. I didn't even hear about that. That's funny. I'm too interested in this stuff. I woke up to Sarah Holcomb's video, and then it was like the first time in weeks that I felt like it took me an hour because I listened to it on double speed Isabel's reply to The View, which was an hour and 15 minutes long, and it just made me wanna, like, respond to it because I know this sounds really judgmental and mean, but it's true. It's what I wanna put in my edited video. I think that her content overall is, like, propaganda slop. It's, like, not even done that well. It's just like, "Here, look, I'm happy, you could be happy too. The best experience in my life was being pregnant." Like, that I'm not saying that it's not good to cherish pregnancy and that time, but, like, most of us wouldn't say the best experience we ever had in our life was being pregnant. For real, like, that is propaganda, trying to sell pregnancy and motherhood, and, she genuinely glows like a woman that does have a supportive partner, good for her. I'm glad she has a good husband. I know what that's like too, but at the same time, I've lived enough life to know that most husbands I'm sorry, guys, a lot of men aren't as good as the best men. Like, the typical woman is what like an extraordinary father. The typical mother is what like a father that's extraordinary. He helps put him to bed. How did you get him to help you put him to bed? What did you do? What did you say to him? These are conversations that are had between mothers because so many men don't participate in their own household, even when their like wife works outside of the home. It's horrible, and it's this is one conversation that's been had for years, but we never really attribute it, like, we don't connect it when we're talking about the birth rates. Why aren't people having babies this anymore? I think a lot of it is genuine, like, they don't want to, they don't feel as pressured to, and I think that's a beautiful thing, I really do. That doesn't mean I don't like my kids. I can't stress that enough. I mean that about my kids. I like that they're in a world one good thing about this world is, like, they can choose whatever path they want and not be judged as much. But let's be real, you're always judged. Judgy people, you can be literally singing a beautiful song because you're happy and somebody's gonna have something to say about it, you know what I mean? Like there's gonna be judgmental people no matter what you do, especially on the internet. TWC, how are you doing? Push mowed my yard yesterday, got a nice shower. Push mowed my backyard today, sweaty and got a nice shower. 2 days of tans and sweaty and nice showers. That sounds really nice, TWC. That's good for you to work out in the sun, or, you need sun protection in the heat. Good evening, Lydia. I hope you and your family are well, looking good. Oh, thank you, Michael. I hope you're doing well too. We are doing good. It was my son's, I try not to talk about it. My son's working a job and I'm really happy for him. That's all I'm going to say about it. Because he tried for months to get a job. And why are you so gorgeous, if you don't mind me asking that question? Jorge said. Well, it's just the way my parents made me. Private health insurance incentivizes maximum profit and not good health outcomes. Yeah, Mr. Money. So yes, that's clearly, I remember laws Obama put into place when people were going on about the death panels. And I'm glad you came back, Mr. Money Moves, because you were attributing a lot to the conversation earlier. But it's interesting to me is, once again, I know I tell the same stories over and over again, but I know there's a lot of new people when I say them. But I just have to acknowledge that I know I say the same shit a lot. I had 4 doctors in 4 years tell me that my cervical dysplasia, which is precancerous cells, my cervical cancer had to advance into a nearby organ and become advanced cervical cancer before they gave me a hysterectomy for hysterectomy, dealing with this for 5 years prior, 10 years total, before the fifth doctor in the fifth year, within 5 minutes, without even ever getting my medical records, was like, yeah, I'll give you that hysterectomy. I'd give you that hysterectomy for any one of your issues, let alone all of them. Like, why is it so hard to, because I didn't have the same insurance, because I had that really good, that has to, like, I know I'd like to think she had a really good heart and all that jazz too, but, like, let's be real. It had more to do with, it had to. And I even asked her, why did every doctor before you say I had to get advanced cervical cancer? If you didn't know, it's like one of the worst cancers for a woman to get. You don't want to let cervical cancer advance into nearby organs. You don't want to do that's just asking that for a death sentence. Like, letting that spread is ridiculous. And I know it was because I was lower income, and I even said that to a few of the doctors. If I was like a doctor's wife, I wouldn't be told, no, the cancer has to be like literal official. And that's also a whole other conversation. I wonder about how they used to grade cervical cancer like 30 years ago. I believe my pre-cancer, and I am a stupid non-expert. I don't know this for certain, but I just have a sneaking suspicion. And they changed the goalpost with a lot of diseases, you guys. You need to be aware for that. Like, the markers for diabetes used to be different. It's pretty crazy when you really like learn. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert and I know better than them, but like, I think a few decades ago, what my cervical dysplasia was, what I kept having to get like cut out of my body and biopsied and stuff, that would have been, go get a hysterectomy. You have some cervical cancer stuff going on. I'm not saying that I had cervical, it was as bad as it gets before it was officially cervical cancer 3 times. It's like, obviously kept getting bad again and again and again. And they kept saying, so I think about healthcare a lot. I have other issues. Oh my gosh, you guys, I could go on and on about dentists. I've had a lot of bad issues with dentists, and they're like the used car salesman of doctors. I think that's a perfect analogy for them. And that's not to say there are no good dentists. I know that there are, but most of them aren't shit, and they want to tell you to drill, 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 because that's how they make the most money. The best dentists don't want to drill every single chance they get and tell you you have cavities where you don't have active cavities. You can have arrested decay and like calcified cavities, basically. And a lot of these, if you ever go to a chain dentist and you're like, oh no, I didn't know. If you have pain, I'm not talking about when you know you have problems. If you're like getting a checkup and you're taken aback by the fact the dentist says you have like 10 cavities to fill, get a second opinion and don't go to a chain dentist. I would venture to say, if you went to a dentist and you had like 10 plus cavities that you didn't know about, it's not, I'm not talking about people that have issues that they know about. It was probably a chain dentist that did that. Healthcare should be a basic human right, Thomas Jordan said. Healthcare should be a public service and federally funded. I agree, Thomas. Mr. Money said those last two things with Thomas. Yes, and I used to be one of those people. I still think it would be hard to manage. There would be longer waits, but we could accommodate. We could start now and be like 10 years from now, we're going to have socialized healthcare. And now we're going to like make it free for people to go be a doctor or nurse practitioner or nurse. You know what I mean? Like, or it really subsidize the colleges for those healthcare professionals, so they are more likely to do it. There's more people that can and not be in debt. I follow one doctor, she is so amazing. I'm sorry I can't remember her name, but she's showcasing how these insurance companies are. She does reconstruction for breast cancer patients. They cancel, I'm getting goosebumps. This makes me so mad. I'm getting goosebumps. They cancel her surgery. Literally, they're like in the surgery room. They've already approved the surgery. They cancel the surgery knowing it's literally scheduled for that moment. They're writing an email canceling it. And she's like, of course, we're going to take care of the patient. We're like there to take care of them. But like these kinds of games that the insurance companies play with the doctors, they put these people in a place where you can't afford your debt, not just your lifestyle, but your student loan debt, unless you work in the profession you got your schooling in. And so I think she has some balls for doing what she's doing. But yeah, for all the arguments against it, I think that there could be some easy ways to work around that, especially if we planned ahead. I don't want the government in charge of healthcare, though. It'll be like the DMV, Jason said. That's a good point. I think that at the very least, the system needs to be revamped. Like they have, it don't it's not legal to charge 100 times more than what the aspirin actually costs the hospital to give a dose of aspirin at the hospital. You know what I mean? And it costs like 50, $500 for like something that is nowhere near that. And once again, it's not, I know some doctors and nurses do make excellent money, but most of them don't make as much as they could if there wasn't so much greed in the higher ups at the hospitals. It's the people in the administrative positions that make so much. What are they saving lives? No, but like the actual doctors that are hands-on performing surgery, surgeons make really good money. I know that, but like there's still I'm still taken aback when I hear some of these nurses saying they make like 20 or $27 an hour. I'm like, shouldn't you be making more than that as a nurse? I feel like the healthcare system lets sicknesses progress purposely. I pray that God heals all sickness. That's so sweet, Gyro. Or is it hero? I always pronounce that wrong. Yes, I agree with you. It is a sick care system, right? Like they don't want us to be healthy. And my experience was part of that. Amen. Mr. Money Moves, that's what a lot of Americans go through. They never get their medical needs met until it's dire need, especially chronic illnesses. Taking care of things at the beginning is cheaper than managing it at late stage. Yes, I totally agree. And that's one reason why, oh no, my dog is starting to stink up the place. She's at my feet. She's so sweet. But this is why I often don't have her in here with me when we're on lives. It's so I'm sorry. But yes, that's why like organic, and trust me, I get all the labeling things when it comes to organic. I understand not all organic food is free of everything bad, but like buying the better quality food might be, if you can afford it, it might be better in the long run because you might be paying more in medical bills later, you know? I'm trying to go sugar free. Patara from Appalachian Homestead has really inspired me lately. I feel like it was one of my signs, one way that God was like trying to shake me straight because I've been eating like half of the chocolate I got for my kids' Easter eggs. And like I just eat too much sugar. I know I do. And I have an issue. I have PCOS, and I think I have the PCOS that it has to do with insulin resistance. So I need to slow my roll. And I know this. And I know once I quit eating sugar, I can be fine without it. But it really is hard to do it at first. Pray, hope in one hand and shit in the other. See which one fills up first, Jason said. That's such a nihilistic way to think. If you are praying hard enough, no matter what is in either of your hands, everything is fine. And that's the whole point, Jason. The US dentist system is a disgrace. Yes, it really is, stoned Papa Edge. I had family go to Mexico for dental work for a very similar reason. Oh, somebody I follow, Bunny, she does van life. She's having a hell of a time right now. She went to get a bunch of extractions and she has some ulcer. It looks so painful. It's so horrible. And now, oh my God, I just really feel for anybody going through dental stuff. Healthcare sucks. That's not too true. I'm going through it myself. I'm sorry, Michelle. I don't know what's going on, but I hope that something gets better. It's like I've been in that position where you're just waiting for answers. You like don't know what's wrong. And this, the way that okay, so I had a tooth extraction. It was a bad root canal. I don't believe in root canals, and I'm sorry if you have any personally. If you do have a root canal and it causes pain, and doctors tell you there's nothing on the x-ray, tell them that your friend from YouTube, Lydia, said that happened to her, and dentist after dentist kept saying there's nothing on the x-ray when I told them every single bite hurt, and it was the root canal tooth, the one root canal I ever got in my life. Long story short, he extracted it. Turned into, it was weeks of, he said, as far as tooth extractions go, it's as serious as it gets. Poked a hole in my sinus, removing the tooth, and he plugged it up with the collagen plug. That hole opened up later. So this was years later, right? I go to an oral surgeon. My mind, hold on, hold on. No, I go to a dentist. I didn't know who to go to. And I remember asking on the phone, I have this hole that's like here at the very top of my gum communicating with my sinus. It hurt so bad to put my head up or down at all, 1 inch, and I was, like, in my garden that year, like, there's I just remember barely being able to do anything in my garden because I couldn't move my head up or down for weeks because it wasn't an emergency, because, like, they didn't take it serious anyways. I got bounced around, and then I got sent to an oral surgeon, I got sent to an ENT, and then they were like, "What are you doing here? You need to go to an oral surgeon." And it's like, "Well, the dentist told me to go to you, you know?" And then then the oral surgeon acted like I was some doctor hopper that was like trying to get pills, even though I hadn't ever gotten any pills yet, in this situation of weeks of horrible pain, being bounced around, having to drive an hour down to where these people were. And then they recommended going to the Louisville School of Dentistry where they were going to use fat from my cheek, like that was what should be done. I really wanted that procedure because I think that would have been the best long-term thing. And they had a huge wait and they wouldn't. I have a hole. You know what that could turn into, like a sinus infection, a really bad one real quick. Like it was so painful. I never heard of PCOS until about a year ago. Honestly, thought the girl that I heard it from was talking about diabetes. It can be really similar, Mr. Money. The most classic PCOS is like people who are obese and have no period, but it really doesn't express itself like that a lot. I've had doctors look at me and be like, "You don't have PCOS." And then do ultrasounds on me, see my polycystic ovaries, and say, "You don't have PCOS, you just have polycystic ovaries." That actually happened to me one time. A female OBGYN really did say, "You don't have PCOS, you just have polycystic ovaries. You don't understand." And it does, you do have to have it defined in blood work too, like, but she didn't even bother doing the blood work. So, anyways, PCOS is the most common cause of infertility in women in the US. It's so freaking common too. And once there's nothing done for it, there's nothing done for so many female disorders. And that's another thing that's never brought up. And it's like women are tired of being like baby machines and nothing more, nothing less. And like I felt, I don't know how to express this. I felt very slighted most of my early motherhood because people think you're just lazy. People think that you're sitting on the couch eating chocolate all day, and it is a luxury. I understand, like, yeah, you are blessed if you do get to stay at home with your kids, but having children, taking care of their every need, and keeping a home clean while you're doing it is work. It is constant. You can take a break when you want to. That is a luxury, but you're still like working a lot, right? Maybe even working, like that saying, uh, how does it go? A man's work is from, what is it? I'm sorry, sun to sun, a mother's work is never done, something like that. So whatever, you guys know how it goes. And that's not respecting those sacrifices has turned into the society where, yeah, because of the economy too, there's a lot of like women don't want to suffer. Like I would rather be able to pay my bills than to just like throw my cares to the wind and be like, yeah, let's have a baby right now. If I was 19 years old again, like I totally understand women not opting to bring, and it's sad. It is really, really sad. And you want people to be able to experience that if they want it, but this not facing everything that women have to go through is part of the problem, not being sincere about it. And the fact that we are having these conversations in a lot of spaces, women are learning before they go in. Like I was talking to my husband last night, there's things that I experienced that weren't in the to expect when you're expecting book. And I'm glad that women are more open and honest with conversations and not like shielding these things. Like it's just things we go through. Okay, I know this is crazy and some people are going to get really turned off by this, but I'm just going to say it. There was this old woman that her caretakers didn't know until they were taking care of her because she could no longer take care of herself in that way, that her uterus was hanging out of her body. And she had to like push her uterus back up in her body often throughout the day because she had such bad prolapse. This woman was just dealing with that for decades of her life. So many women just deal with stuff like that. It's just like normalize it. Like, and it's like taboo if you talk about it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to turn some people off. I'm talking about this old lady suffering with her uterus hanging out of her body because like like, we don't talk about, like, periods and, like, really sit back and think about women for 20%, 15% of our lives are bleeding, and it shouldn't be painful. It shouldn't be an abnormal thing that puts you through hell every month. But in this environment with our food and everything we've got going on, the endocrine disruptors, it often is, and, like, as much as you can help that, I still really feel for women, you know? And I got my periods under control. Progesterone cream made me like a clock. I never knew when I was gonna have my period from the age of 10 to 28. Isn't that funny? For 18 years, I never knew. That's one symptom of PCOS. You can have your period for 6 weeks straight, and then you cannot have your period for a few months. It's really weird. Or you can have a period every 2 or 3 weeks. It's just really abnormal cycles. And progesterone cream derived from yams. A lot of people think that all hormone replacement is carcinogenic. In my opinion, it is not. A company even went to court over this. They still slap that carcinogenic label on the progesterone cream derived from wild yams, like they do with the synthetic derived from horse urine pharmaceutical progesterone that is, like, synthesized somehow from horse urine. That is yes, it is carcinogenic to the point where, like, you don't wanna just start giving that to women necessarily for years on end. Maybe if it's an older woman for a few years for quality of life, but anyways, I'm not giving any advice, but like I try to say that as much as possible. Like progesterone cream derived from yams seriously saved. I was bleeding so badly, I was wearing adult diapers. Doctors wouldn't believe me because my blood work wasn't showing anemia. And they're like, if you were bleeding as badly as you say you are, and I would say to their face, so you're calling me a liar? Like you're saying I'm a liar. Like come in the bathroom with me. And they never would. I'm like, I have had a few babies by now, like I'm not I don't care to like literally pull down my pants and show you what I'm working with right now. They don't listen to us. Even when we're sitting there saying, I'll show you how I wear leggings under sweatpants over my adult diapers because that's how much and that is crazy. That isn't any way to live. When it comes to chronic diseases, you want to avoid sugar, carbs, and cooking with seed oils. Yes, Mr. Money moves. I use avocado oil and coconut oil. We do have olive oil, but I never like cook with it. But yes, I eat fast food sometimes, of course. But Jason, if you look at the history of healthcare in the US, it's crazy. The original doctors would do blow and stay working for days. They installed the long work hours and it's stuck. Jason, that's wild. A lot of, professionals there's so many addicts, I had a friend that was, like did paralegal work, and she's like, all lawyers do drugs." And I'm not saying in my opinion, I don't think all lawyers do all, but you know what I mean. A lot of people working with the law really like to get zooted on the weekends. And like, and it's only the people on the bottom of the totem pole that, I thoroughly believe people that are like upper class, their drug dealer is their doctor. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of the rest of us can't get the pain medication when we sincerely need it. Because like who do you give pain medication to these days, doctors? And I genuinely haven't ever like really wanted it and didn't get it, but I've heard of so many other people that should have had it. And the one time I had my sinus repaired, um, I remember he was about to not give me any pain medicine, but when he was done with the procedure, he's like, I had to give you more stitches than I thought I was going to. And he told the nurse to write me a script for pain medicine. And that getting that hole repaired, my face was more swollen than getting molars. I've had two molars removed from my jawbone. One I shouldn't have had removed, honestly. The other one was a bad root canal. Anyways, getting a little sinus hole repaired made my face swell up so bad. Man, oh Lord, God bless your sister. Yeah, God bless her. Money moves, carnivore, keto, or ketovore combined with fasting, 1 or 2 meals a day. Yes, Mr. Money moves. I I'll probably do more keto than carnivore, but I would love to actually do carnivore. That's something I need to be making YouTube money to eat the way I really, but we have chickens, so hi Matt, how are you? Hey Michael, the women here love you, so concerned about women's health. Oh yes, and it's for men too. I know there's a lot of men in my audience, and that's what I think is important. And I try not to talk about my kids, but I was so proud of my teenager. His ex-girlfriend's mom told me how he said a period was just a normal bodily function. She basically praised me and she's like, "You did a good job raising him," because how what he said to her about her period was like exactly how we treat it and talk about it in our household. And like, yeah, like my kids know. And that's not to say women should be treated as a special class of citizen either. I know some people are going to take it that way, that I'm like, oh, women should be treated special, but it's not that. And you shouldn't take out your hormone mood changes like on the people around you when you deal with that stuff. Don't forget that raising kids was easier because the women of the family worked together. Moms, aunts, grandmas, older female siblings to take care of the young. Now women are away and don't have their family nearby. That's very true. I cook with butter. Mr. Money Moves, I love butter. What I really like to do most of the time, I put avocado oil in and then the butter just because it helps the butter. I'm so bad about burning stuff. I'm getting better, but like I tend to you know, if that oil starts smoking, that's really bad, guys. You don't want to like cook with any kind of oil. Once it gets to the point where it's smoking, stuff is burning that shouldn't be burning. That's why I like to use high smoke points, like avocado and coconut oil. And if you guys don't know, refined coconut oil doesn't taste like coconut. So you can get refined coconut oil. It might I don't even know how different it is nutritionally. I don't think it's that different, but it is so nice to have that. And I completely agree with you, Mr. Money Moves. That's a big issue is people not having the support, the get a jellyfish on there, Rain Man. I don't know what you mean, Rain Man. Eating raw jellyfish soup helps with that. Oh, that's interesting. I never heard of anybody eating jellyfish, so I don't know if you're trolling me or not. Watching from county jail on a burner. If you are really Don Juan, I hope that things get better for you. And I don't know what you're in there for, but I feel for you, unless you hurt a kid. I was just telling my husband that the other day. I'm like, I feel bad when I see people get arrested. Did you guys see the did you see the video of the woman escaping the police car? She was in the back of a car with the window rolled, like not even halfway down. This woman, handcuffed behind her back, crawled out of a police car in Muskogee, Michigan. You guys have to look that if you haven't seen this, at one point she's like hanging by an elbow. It is amazing. And of course, everybody, like the comments were talking about meth, and my husband joked about like meth being involved. It's like, how did she do that? But like, I don't know. Does meth give you like superhuman strength? And everybody, she landed on 2 feet. She crawled out of a cop car with her hands handcuffed behind her back and landed on 2 feet. It was like so crazy. Somebody happened to be live streaming in the parking lot. I don't know where the heck the cops went. Like, they just leave her in the car. Cutting out sugars did wonders for my allergies. I was almost at the point of getting a prescription. Oh, Edge, that's cool. So I've cut out sugar before. Hey, John, how are you doing? I cook with motor oil. Is that going to be bad for me? Curbside. Um, I have cut out sugar before. I always let it back into my life, and it's like, well, the holidays, that's a big thing. But every time I do, I feel better, and it's like it makes me sick to eat it the way that I used to, you know? Like we don't have lots of soda in our house. We have a little sometimes, but like I can't often drink a full serving of soda because I'm not used to how sugary it is. We we're fans of sparkling water, and it's so funny, I'll never forget, like, my brother's, like, addicted to soda, he's one of those people, bless his heart, and he had a sparkling water at our house years ago, and the way he reacted to it was um, Max Beach, yeah, I make funny mouth movements sometimes. I do funny stuff with my mouth sometimes. Yes, I am aware of that. I didn't know until I did YouTube that when I talk, my bottom teeth show. Isn't that funny? Like, I just didn't know that about myself. I have this recently developed weird obsession with watching police body cam investigation. I love those. I love those too, Rain Man. I go through my phases, but I've been watching a lot lately myself. I have not seen you in quite a while, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Yes, John, I'm doing better. I'm not working the job that I got, that warehouse job that I got. Oh, yes, I can tell you guys, it was Amazon. Somebody guessed it was Amazon, and I felt like a liar when I was like, "No," but it's like the 4th time I worked there, and it was my best experience, it was, but then, like, my husband got an opportunity to at his job that was like, he has to do it full time, or I have to work this job full time, and it was like, basically, I'm fine. Once I'm on my feet, like 8, 10 hours straight, my hernias, I have 3 hernias. They really, I have to have like a thing around my hernias, like a hernia belt. That gets really annoying going up and down stairs and bending up and down. And like I could have dealt with it if I had to, but I was like, I really want to focus on my garden and my YouTube. Yeah, Fendi. And it was like, it's just really good, good pay. But I already read that. I have not seen you in one. I read that. AI is so good now, you never know when it's real. Think 50% are AI. Yeah, Michael, I'm not the greatest at that. And that's one of the things they want. I swear that's part of it. They want us to never know if what we're watching is real. And I really just have a feeling about like the Project Bluebeam stuff and the things they've told us about aliens recently. That's just like a gut instinct. I know I could be wrong. I'm not God. I heard it is one of the worst places to work at, and they track you, Rain Man said. It okay, I have a lot to say about it, but it's like it is a good job in a lot of ways. I understand why people like the job. Like it's a safe place to work. The last factory I worked at was a plastic factory, and it most of the time, I didn't smell plastic. We were dealing with cured parts. But when I walked by the injection mold area, then you could like smell the epoxy, like uncured plastic. And I know that's not good to breathe in. I made epoxy at home with crafts and stuff. But anyways, that's another thing. Like the people that are exposed to chemicals, toxins, the elements working in warehouses, factories that aren't heat controlled. Like the people that have like the crappiest job, like they get paid the least or some of the least. And like, of course, in the big scheme of things, Amazon is like a better paying job, but they could be paying more, just like Walmart. When I'm talking about Walmart's warehouses, their distribution centers, I'm not talking about the stores when I talk about working for Walmart. Um, yes, now I remember you were going to start a new job, John said. Why women talk so much shit intercom. Well, women really like to. One of my favorite quotes from Jordan Peterson is like, women are interested in people, men are interested in things. And that's a very overgeneralization. Not that men are never interested in people or the opposite. But I think women do a lot of emotional work is what came to mind, but that's not what I wanna say, and that men, in order to evolve, can also do the same. They've just been socialized that, like, anything feminine is bad, and that includes, like, talking it out, being vulnerable with your feelings, and, once again, everybody has inner masculine, inner feminine, whatever you are, male or female. You've got the opposite energies, and Carl Jung, that's a psychology thing that I believe in, and a lot of people do. Gosh, he came up with this shit, like, 80 years ago or longer, and it's still really foundational psychology. Most people go by a lot of people bring up Freud a lot, but it's really Carl Jung, really, in the way he explained things. I think a lot of what we hear about Freud too was like handpicked. We haven't heard everything that he really had to say. His family, after his passing, chose to like keep some things from us supposedly and stuff. And so, yeah, I think that it's fun to be able to talk to people because if I had a Facebook again, like I years ago, it was like me posting about the things, and then you learn who's the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, like you are, and you talk to them a little bit more. But like a lot of people that you just have on your Facebook because you're friends, family, alumni, or whatever with them, they don't want to hear all that. You know what I mean? And it doesn't serve you well to just be like, "Hey guys, listen to this." So it's great to have a platform where I can be like, "I want to talk about how wealthy conservative people are telling the rest of us, they're telling my kids." I take that seriously because even though I don't have a uterus anymore, somebody had to say it. You can still get pregnant after a hysterectomy. That has happened before. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So I had to look it up and they were right. More so when you've had your cervix left, which I got my cervix taken out. But anyways, oh, and then I had my fallopian tubes left, and then I read tonight in 2023 they were like, "Oh, you really should take the fallopian tubes off because that's usually where ovarian cancer starts." I'm like, I can't. It's always something. You know what I mean? Um, but thank you, Fendi. I swear I thought you were a psychiatrist or something. Should definitely consider it as a career choice. Oh, Rain Man, that's a really nice compliment. Most women find it an ick is when we open up or cry in front of them, and it's been proven from time to time. And I can also say this from experience. Okay, Rain Man, I'm not trying to dismiss that because I've heard that from enough men that like I used to think it wasn't true because I'm not like that. But okay, I have been in the position before where like you feel a little awkward, you don't, but it wasn't the ick that women describe. It's like you feel awkward and you don't know what to do because you don't want to make them feel like more like I hate to say this, but babied or something, but that is not the same as being like, ew, stop doing that. Like, when you've never seen a man cry before and he cries for the first time, especially if it's like your dad and you never seen him cry and he cries, it's kind of jarring. And but anyways, I've definitely seen enough women and men express what Rain Man just said about like some women, and that's like a filter. When that does happen, then you know that is not somebody you want to be really close to, whether it's friends or like spending your life with. It's horrible. Because life is hard. Like, I couldn't imagine, and it's like women want it both ways, you know? They do want a man that will be lovey-dovey with them and be emotional when it comes to them, right? But they don't want a man that like gets upset. Sometimes down south, we don't let our woman do too much physical labor, John B said. Oh, John, I bet there's a lot of physical labor. Women have always worked hard when it comes to like gardening and stuff in certain situations. Of course, not like everybody everywhere. Hey, Bathy, how are you? Better not talk about them feelings, Fendi said. Yeah, so I do feel bad about that. But like I said, if you're with a woman that makes you feel that way, easier said than done to just like get out. But like that's not a good person. Um, it just sounds like the kind of person that's like so shallow, they probably aren't loyal if they can't like be there for you when you need them. I'm sure Freud's family had some good reasons for not wanting to share some of his work. Yes, Edge, definitely. But it's just it's kind of cherry picked, I guess is a good term for what I was trying to say. Or else you sassy and gay, Fendi said. No, we need to encourage. That's what I'm saying. Use it as a filter. If a woman is like, ew, you stop being vulnerable, then you know she's not like the woman for you, you know? And I say a lot about stoicism and I see other people like it can be promoted in like a toxic kind of way. Stoicism at its heart is like keeping in mind we're all going to die one day. Whoever you have beef with, whoever you don't like, whoever you do like we're all going to die. They're going to be gone, you're going to be gone. And it's not like as negative as that sounds, it's like in a cherish what you have while you have it. It's not about never crying. It's about keeping in mind that, like, in a way, this is how much of a problem can you have with something when you know it's temporary, really, that everything is temporary. Here I am scrolling, eating Doritos, and trying to fart my way to sleep, XX said. Women want so many things, and men want women. Chip, hello. Hope you are okay. I'm doing well, Chip. How are you? I'm glad you're just kidding, Fendi. I was hoping you were kidding because, like, it really is. I think you get bonded the more you go through shit. And of course, like, we all hope we don't, I hope my kids don't go through half the shit we went through. But I will say that, like, going through deaths in the family, diagnoses, all sorts of stuff, and like being able to like cry together about things is special, and it shouldn't be special. It should be something everybody has that wants to have a partnership in a marriage. Hi, Braden. How are you? It's true love when you are allowed to fart under the covers. The real term. I've never done that. Like, you know, different strokes for different folks, but I would never do that to my husband. I'm not going to go into the farting history. And I haven't, it's not like, it's not healthy to hold it in, but like, there is, it is nice to keep some things a mystery. For asking shit. Proper women do hard labor. Women are too important, John B said. Yeah, like the hardest of labor, of course. Me with three hernias, I have to default to my son and my husband more than I would like to. But um I need to start lifting weights. Like, it's important for middle-aged women to do weightlifting. I can already tell. Okay, and this is another thing. You guys are sweet for like listening, but like didn't I just felt like my recovery was harder than it could have been or should have been. I got my hysterectomy last April. It's been almost a total year. And I found this video today that's like I read different things, but it was actual the first time doctors were like they're yeah, you might still have your ovaries. That doesn't mean you didn't go through some drastic hormonal changes. And the main cause, the main artery the blood goes to the ovaries was from the uterus. That's been completely removed. So it makes sense that the ovaries would go through some changes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like second most common surgical procedure done on women in America, hysterectomy. It's a very common surgery. And they're still like in the dark about like how to do it. Like I said, like leave the fallopian tubes. And I'm like, so when I ovulate, does my egg just like float out into my abdominal cavity? Or did they like cauterize the fallopian tube so it's like sealed at the end? So the egg is just like hanging out until my body absorbs it. I don't even want to really think about it. I don't, because that doesn't seem natural to me. But it's like my alternative was like getting cervical cancer. So I'm like, whatever. It was better than getting that. But, it's another thing, like, the doctor I was asking for more time off work. I had infections in my incisions. She said it was hard to close up because I have weird veins. So I was dealing with that, and I asked for 2 more weeks, I asked for 8 weeks off work, but then I asked for 2 oh, no, after 6 weeks, it was like a fight to get my what is it called when you're off work for something like that? I was getting paid like half my pay, and I had to like call every other day for the last 2 weeks of it and be like, "Yeah, I still can't work." Okay. Um, I need to read a text, and I hope I did it earlier and I could come back to my live, and I'm really sorry if this like shuts me out of my live. I will come back, but I am going to go soon. Anyways, it's not proper for a woman to do hard. I've already read that. John, your comment is a bit ironic, saying that women go through hard labor to birth a child and begin the family. The real term said. Short-term disability. Yes, lone wolf, you are right. You certainly have a way of putting things together, Kentucky. Bravo. Oh, thank you, John. I will be right back. Hi, Jim. Pause, breathe, reset, mastery. Attacking others is a poor substitute for healing. Hold on, notice the shift. One of my kids, I had to answer him. Yeah, so notice the shift. I don't know if you're talking about my subject, conservative people. I don't know if you're talking about that, but I don't consider what I'm doing attacking others. I think that it's really, why did it get so blue? Is it just me or did that get like more? Have I been this blue the whole time? I got a new light. I've been wanting one of these things and it was okay. I unplugged it. I'm such a dork. I was wondering why it went off. One of these things that make like you can kind of see it, like aurora or like water, like wave effect. I thought that would be fun, maybe, but it's kind of hard to see with the other lights. Humanity in general, notice the shift said. I made it again. How is the new job, Gloom? Oh, I already quit it, Gloom. It's Keith. I talk in most cases in general terms. Oh, I'm sorry. I noticed. Okay. Okay, I remember. Keith, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. How are you doing? Notice. I'm gonna try not to call you Keith because I don't know if you want me to call you Keith. But yeah, Gloom, I worked that job for a week and then basically my husband wanted to take an opportunity that would cause him to be working full time, and I said take it because so I have 3 hernias, and that's what I started to say. I can't be on my feet longer than several hours. Like usually it takes 6 8 hours. Hi Greg. Hi Emperor Raven. I'm just gonna call you Raven. Hi, how are you? 2 days till I can change my name back. Oh, that's cool. Notice. Jim, how are you? I thought it was a grow light. LOL. I do have some grow lights on, but not I don't know. I have a feeling you're talking about growing another kind of plant. Hi, Jackie. How are you? What was I just going to say? Have you noticed all the women, most police and fire chiefs, new norm? Michael, okay. eh, Women are just infiltrating more of the workforce. Of course, there's always been women in the workforce, but yeah, when it comes to Gosh, I can never remember the names when I want to. One of my favorite YouTubers made a video about this recently, talking about how women have always been in the workforce. Actually, like 50% of factory workers in like the industrial age when children were working in Britain were 12-year-old girls and younger because like the little kids could get into spaces. It was horrible. It's so horrible to think about. They could work machines easier than adults could, because they were so tiny. It's just insane. Half of the factory workers for I don't know how many years were children, and they were like female children. So, anyways, um, there's always been people working hard to live. I think about how most of human history, like when we were hunters and gatherers, even at the beginning of agricultural societies, when people were just starting to make civilizations like that work, we were all working morning, noon, and night. It's constant work. And that's like the kind of life we would like to live more like. But I'm not it's almost like more work than working the full-time job and getting to buy everything from the store, but it's better, it's more nutritious. I keep bringing up, okay, so Patara really inspired me. Like, I am going to make content out of it and get better with my diet and start like exercising because I have noticed changes in my body since my hysterectomy. And it's always going to be a hang up for women when it comes to certain body parts. But I really wanna focus on all of that stuff, and like I said, I wanna, like, share I know I'm not the only person that has hernias and, like, struggles with that and doesn't wanna, like I can't get surgery even if I wanted to, but I genuinely don't want to get them repaired. It's one of those surgeries, most of the time you have to get them revised, and, I mean, if I make great YouTube money, I might there's this place I picked out in Florida oh, thank you, Reed. "Hi, I'm going to die in 9 day I have chemo and" Oh, Reed, if you're going through chemo, I'm really sorry to hear that. And I don't mean to be rude, but how do you know 9 days? Like, did doctors tell you 9 days? But yeah, Michael, and one thing I want to make a video about is like this isn't related to female professionals, just like female perverts. It's so crazy. There's one middle school where two women now, and one of them has like a influencer brother. I don't remember their names, but like it is crazy. And I think that social media feeds into a lot of it, not trying to like make excuses for these perverts, but hi, Jackie. I don't remember if I said hi to you or not. I am sorry, probably for the better. Yeah, Gloom, it probably is. I felt like a loser, honestly. It was like slightly depressed for just a few days because I like making money and it's good steady money, and Instacart can really suck. I took an order today where okay, I'm not gonna go into details. Basically, it did this thing it's never done to me before. Usually you can shop at a different Kroger's because it was 2 miles away from one Kroger's. So I go to that Kroger's, the delivery, I'm like, I'm gonna shop for it in this town. And then I get there and they're like, no, you have to go to this town. And the Kroger's is 30 minutes away. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna like get in my car and go up there to come back down right here to deliver it. And that Kroger's is smaller. I have no idea why that would be a thing unless they really don't offer something that the bigger Kroger's does. But anyways, looking at their list of like 14 things, it didn't make sense. So little things like that. But I had to drop something off to my son at his school anyways. So I just like went into town. But it's not reliable. Like my husband can make good money he does like a gig, but gig work too, one app, but it's not reliable, it's not steady. It's like, yeah, if we knew we could make X amount of money every single day, we might try to just do that, but, oh, I couldn't imagine. So, I've been really poor before, us living off grid and stuff, like and I think I've been less burnt out than most adults because I did stay at home for most of my 20s. I just like working. I genuinely do like working, and it was fun working first shift. It was like a challenge, but it made me feel grown up. So what's happening? What's going on? I just got here. Oh, we're talking about all sorts of stuff, Raven. I bounce around a lot, and I consider myself a centrist, so I really do. I hope people don't think I'm like playing both ends against the middle. I think people can tell I sincerely just see both sides of things often. So that's why I like to talk about all sorts of social and political topics. I made a healing jar. That sounds cool. Notice. Read you. I'm thinking about you. The fascia may break or surgery or two hernia. Gloom. Okay, so I think, is there something going on with my fascia? I'm so prone to hernias. And I say three. I've only had two confirmed, but I'm diagnosing one. It was an incisional hernia and like it has gotten better. And so what I really want to do is strengthen my core. And I know I'm not the only person with issues that doesn't have health insurance. I did get a doctor refer me for pelvic floor therapy, which I would gladly go do if it fit in with our schedule and I could afford it or had health insurance. But don't cry for me. It's like I think everything happens for a reason. And I've been through a lot of stuff medically that just made me a healthier person in the end because I stopped going to doctors for all of the answers. And I know some people have to go to the doctors regularly and take pharmaceuticals. So I'm not saying like nobody should, but I keep bringing up Patara and like I don't want to be like this. What if, God forbid, knock on wood, something happened to my husband and I had to go work on my feet because he couldn't work anymore? Like, I want to be able to work a full shift and not have hernia pain. And I think that I can if I get stronger. And I saw somebody say if you can't get the pelvic floor therapy and you, especially after a surgery like a hysterectomy, you really want it, the next best thing is Pilates, because if you didn't know, Pilates was developed by somebody, I think during World War II time, like for people that were stuck in bed that had injuries from the war that like they needed some exercise but couldn't get out of bed. So it's not like what a lot of people think it is like this, you have to be super fit to do it. I mean, I'm sure some of the moves you do, but I the meshing weekends. Oh, yes, Gloom. Yes, the mesh that they use. And then they can also use like pigskin and titanium stitches. And I talked to one surgeon in the Indianapolis area that I would go to, or this place down in Florida. Like, I want to go to a place that's all that they did, right? And he told me if I chose the pig titanium stitching option, there'd be more left for longer, like there'd be more of that titanium stitches than there would be the mesh, and that made me think like, "Oh, do I" somebody in, nobody I met, it's like a sister-in-law's family member got some settlement from that mesh. Oh, so horrible. Years ago when they had all the lawsuits, I had colon cancer at one time, and I'm in a real in remission right now for 5 years. Curtis, I'm so glad to see, and my sister got lung cancer. She is she doing okay now, Curtis? I'm glad that you're doing better, and I've known a lot of people that got colon cancer. I'm so sorry to hear that. Hi, Zelda. I love your name. May each breath amplify your mind's abilities to trigger your deepest peace and comfort more with every healing breath. Yes, and yes, may strong and resourceful friends. Thank you. Notice. Reed, stay faithful to Jesus until the end. Ask for forgiveness, Gino said. Yeah, Reed, if you are still in here, and I know I'm so sorry. If this comes off as me being insensitive, like I really near death experiences are abundant on YouTube. And I just think if somebody's like truly facing the end of life and they haven't made peace with it yet, hearing people say a lot of the same things, and I know a lot of people are going to say that's not true, or like that's a the angels they're seeing are demons because the Bible says that. I totally respect everybody's belief system, but I have seen so many of those things that like made me feel a lot better about passing and the people that we've lost, right? And it's a beautiful thing to think about. Like, we're just, especially the older you get, the more people you lose, we're just waiting until we're back together again. And Reed, I hope you count your blessings and find peace. Look back and relive the fact you were happy once, twice, thrice, Gloom said. Praying for you, Reed, Gina said. Oh, you guys are so sweet. My politics says get off my lawn, mostly, Notice said. I've heard low dose aspirin helps in prevention of colon cancer. Been taking Cool. I hope so. I definitely not with everybody, of course, but a lot of it is environmental. It's like one of those cancers that's getting worse. They have lumbar suspenders, not sure if they are useful. I think the fascia is weakened by food. Yes. Oh, lumbar suspenders. That sounds interesting. I need to look that up. I have like three kinds of things I wear. One's a specific, like, inguinal hernia belt, because if you didn't inguinal hernias are, like, in your groin, and, like, 80% of the time it's men that get them. I'm just a weirdo. I just have, like I attribute so I was thinking, does that have anything to do with me having more testosterone than the average woman, being prone to a kind of hernia that usually men get lifting weights? You must be careful doing physical labor, my friend. Yes, I will be careful, John. And so I had one hernia surgeon tell me, as long as you don't lift way more than 50 pounds, you should be fine. They're not poking through the abdominal wall as much as they could be. However, that was years ago. An ab roller gives you crazy core strength, Edge said. Listen to funk. Brazilian funk is best music. I've never even heard of that, Raptor. The suspenders apply pressure to push in, but I think it's only temporary gloom. Yeah, that's what the inguinal hernia belt does. It has removable pads. They're like hard foam pads that you can put in either side. And it just sucks if it's already hurting. It's really sore to have that pushing against it. But if it's not already hurting, those things really work. I think the people that can't make peace with the end of their life are people who never chased their dream or never took a chance at creating something for themselves. It's a pain and sadness of regret. Yeah, Mr. Money, I also have watched a lot of hospice workers and nurses. I love YouTube so much and just love being able to hear so many experiences that we wouldn't be able to hear otherwise, you know? And I think people are just like more genuine often. Not everybody, of course, but hospice, they all say the same thing that at the end of life, regrets are they wish they like worked less and spent more time with their family. Um, you know, basically just like loved more and took the risks more when it came to that kind of stuff and didn't like focus on the material, tangible things you can't take with you, right? Yeah. I'll never forget when my grandpa died. That was a crazy experience. I missed it barely. I got there like an hour, half hour after he died. But he had a room full of people with him. And yeah, I just wish for everybody to at least have a bunch of people there or however many people you want. Truth must be experienced. You must first be a fool in front of many in order to realize the mistaken experience truth. Gnostic Jesus Gloom said. I'm going to stop saying I'm going to do stuff and I'm actually going to do it. Hi, Adeline. How are you? I think I remember you. I don't know if you've ever been here before, but I remember Adeline. That's such a pretty name. There's a lot of, like, pretty names you don't hear a lot. There was this lady, oh my gosh, they turned down $26 million in Kentucky, a farm that had been in their family for generations, and it was so sweet. It was like the mother and daughter talking, and, like, the grandma, the mother, like, she had been born on that farm, and some data center wanted to give them $26 million. I think it was 1,100 acres, I forget. It wasn't even all of it. They're like, "We won't take all of it," but, like, of course, they said no. It's like no amount of money is worth getting rid of the family farm. And now I can't remember. It wasn't Dolores because I've heard Dolores a lot. She had Delius. She had one of those names that I'm like, that's a Kentucky name. It was something like Delius. It was something you never heard before in your life and you probably will never hear again. Some of them are like, yeah, you hear them, but like, there's so many people with like wild names. I love the country names. It's really cool. Hi, Greg. How are you? Hi, James. How are you? I'm good, but I have a question. You can ask me anything, Ada. Money is neutral, meaningless. Love people and use things, not use people and love things. Yes, Brandon. So, and I think bringing it back around because I am going to go soon to like this subject where we're talking about wealthy people being kind of out of touch. And like, I think that's what like Isabel Brown, she really does exude. Like, I think she's genuine when she loves her life. She loves her baby. She loves her husband. I think that is so great to be in love with life and to have a family. And I understand being a little naive and in your 20s and assuming that like everybody should want the same thing because it like worked out for you. And then the older I got and the more I saw the truth of a lot of people's realities, and it's just the same things happen over and over. It's like the same story over and over. Everybody has the same complaints, either men, women, wives, husbands. You know what I mean? And like somebody said it, and it was so funny. Like I don't want to say who I think it was if it wasn't them, but somebody that's a regular in here was like, my friends who are husbands, all they do is complain about like their wives trying to make them do stuff they don't want to do. Like, the same complaints from the wife saying, I just have to nag him because he doesn't do things until I ask over and over, and then I become the nag and I like don't want to, but it's like it's just really interesting. And that's why Jungian psychology is so good because we can it's not all explained away by psychology, of course. If only life was that easy. But I think it's sweet that there are people that are like, everybody should just have babies. But there has to be people in, are you a Wings of a Fire fan? No, Adeline, I am not. There has to be people that are honest, that are like, "Hey, I'm working class. I used to be what I would consider middle class, never upper middle class, but definitely not lower, like literally middle class." Not that there's anything wrong with being lower or upper, any of the sort, but I'm just saying, like, we're part of what is like died out. Now we're like the working poor. We live paycheck to paycheck in a way that's like, yeah, when we were younger and dumber, we might have lived paycheck to paycheck, but we weren't ever behind on the bills. You know what I mean? We were living paycheck to paycheck because we wanted to take the kids to the water park in French Lick for a weekend. And we wanted to spend the what, like $300 or $500 we would on that weekend. And but it was never, we're struggling to keep up with the bills. The food costs so much. And that's what I wanna share on YouTube. No, I'm not alone. I know it can feel shameful when the examples you have are all these people saying, like, keeping up with the Joneses and saying, like, "Well, just even if you feel like you can't afford" those people, it's kinda like that saying, "The girls in the magazines don't even look like the girls in the magazines." I don't know where I'm going with that. Is it like that? These people that have so much abundance, they can't see the forest through the trees. They don't see what we're going through. And that is a big part of the problem. That's why things won't change because the people that can help change things aren't going to change it because they're all sitting pretty. And then they're all just looking at us like, well, if you want more money, just make more money because it was like so easy for them to stumble into some money. Sometimes a lot of them really do work. But I'm talking about the people that are really judgmental, not of the working class. Okay. Like people that work. Even if you make six figures, you have to pay your bills. You have to work in order to be able to pay your bills. You are part of the working class. When you don't have to work and then you're a jet setting, world traveling mother that's telling other women to become mothers as soon as they can. Um, oh my gosh. And I've said on my channel before, some of you can vouch for me. I do think people should get married young if they want to. I don't think young marriage should be discouraged. Oh, I missed some comments. I didn't think the chat was moving. Why do I feel like I'm stuck in the same life pattern every year around the same time? Season troll, that's interesting. Is it around this time of year? That's really interesting. I bet a lot of people feel that way. Mr. Money Moves, that's why I measure my life with one question. If I had one day, 1 week, month, year left to live, what would I do or change? If my answer is do exactly what I'm doing right now, then I'm winning at the game of life. Yes, Mr. Money, collecting memories of life experience of true wealth into happiness, Gloom said. Collect the most good memories that you can, then you are truly wealthy. Yes, Gloom. Hi, Maud Fazil. How are you? We just lost out on two houses in our budget that were great. My husband worked so hard and is crushed. Ugh. Madison, are you trying to buy a house? Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry. Our problem as society is collecting all the gossip, memories, drama, mystery, Clam said. Yes, I like that morphic resonance theory. You probably heard of that, Gloom. Where like people, it was said about, I think it's true about bugs. I think, is that what the theory? Anything. It can be true with any living organism. I'm sure it can be said about humans that you, it kind of like sharing a hive mind, like a collective mind in it. I swear I've seen it happen with bugs in the garden that like bugs will get to know who I it's a different bug because it's not the bug that I killed the day before, but it's the same kind of bug. And like they will like drop off the leaf while I'm like 10 feet away when it's like that same bug was not dropping off the leaf when I was that far away from it the day before. Stuff like that. I think that humans I do believe that we're all part of the same energy and go back to it, and that's or at least part of our souls. I don't know how it works. Our problem in society is I already read that. I let my credit card debt go to collections and I just ignore them. Seven layer bean dip. Good for you. I mean, I hope that they don't sue you because I've seen a lot of people that didn't expect to get sued. But yeah, usually when you can do that, if you can settle with them for drastically less. Um, I'm sure a lot of people excuse me, I'm sure a lot of people are in that boat. And it's like if you are having a hard time keeping up with bills, of course credit cards are going to be the first things you don't pay. We've been there. But we I'm pretty sure we've all like when I first got together with my husband, I had a few credit cards that I had let go and like he paid them off. He was so sweet. It was like, "Well, you have to get your credit up." And that's like it didn't matter because I was a stay-at-home mom. Like we always try to do the right thing. You know what I mean? Tava, don't call 7 Layer a deadbeat. It's the credit card companies. When I went to school, young Lydia was taught there's no such thing as loan sharks in our country. Oh, that's illegal. Loan sharking is illegal. What is 28% if it's not loan sharking? That's crazy. Some of the interest rate on some of this stuff. So, I just realized how bad the one car loan I got into was, but it's not that much left on it, but it's still ridiculous. And I realized the interest. The reason the 40s and 70s were so great was two reasons. First, WW2 forced the federal government to spend money on working people. People then cashed their bonds and put it in the bank and got double interest gains. Mr. Money Move said, yeah, I think it was. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're probably right about all of that, but there is like so many things going into the booming economy, and it really sucks. I always butcher this statistic. And the thing with statistics is you can make statistics say anything you want to. That's another thing I want to say about Miss Isabel Brown. She loves bringing up these statistics. It's like, where did you get that from? Can you cite that so we can go read the source for ourselves? Because she likes to say this thing. This one study recently said married moms or moms are the happiest people. Well, that's funny because I've seen a study several times by the other side being pushed. It's like the happiest people are single child free women. And I don't think that we should be trying to measure happiness. It's just like the thing of the pair bonding in marriages. How do you measure how happy somebody's marriage is? And let's be real, anybody that's been in a long-term marriage, you know I'm right. It changes from time to time too. Okay. So basically, you're catching that person at whatever day they're on, whatever mood, whatever's going on in their relationship, because it ebbs and flows. Hopefully you're not together for years and fighting, like, hopefully you're not fighting all the time ever, but not going through the same kind of fights as you did when you first got together. You mature, things should get easier and better. Um, but yeah, there was a lot more going on to just like help people all together. You are right. The federal government is spending money on working people. And I'm no expert, but it does seem like it was Reagan who came and threw the biggest wrench in a lot of those things that were like put into place. He's what really started. And it's like the Federal Reserve in 1913 being started, having some other entity that's literally not a part of the government be in charge of our money and not having money being worth anything is a big part of it. But then it was like, yeah, people were doing better for a while. And okay, so what I was trying to think of was in the year 2007, the average home buyer's age was 37. It's something similar like this. And then in the year 2025, the average home buyer, it's like the same person. The average home age is like what, like 55? It's like literally the same people are like buying the most houses from the same generation. That's what gets to me a lot. And I know not all people from that generation are clueless. I know a lot of boomers get it. And even like some like Gen X, I'm not saying it's their fault, but it's like, haven't you seen the wages stagnate like I have? But you just think that like anybody that works a blue collar job should just eat shit. I don't get it. I don't understand how more people can't at least acknowledge. It doesn't mean you have to do something about it. You're not Elon Musk. You can't literally solve world hunger with your fortune, but like to acknowledge it, like everybody, we're all human. We all want to be seen and heard. It would just be nice to not have so many people be like, oh, you should have made better choices. You should have stopped getting coffee. I never bought coffee out. I never made a habit out of that. We drink instant coffee right now. We're so down bad. Seriously. Because we got tired of spending money on coffee that like tasted because if things weren't so bad, I'd be getting organic coffee because that's one of those things I do think you should get organic if you can. But we basically found this instant coffee from Kroger's that's like made in Germany. I don't know. I just think it matters. Like it's decent. And I'd rather have the same kind of crappy taste in coffee and just like say and then be bouncing around because like coffee's so expensive and costs so much, and we just anyways. But even if you do buy coffee out, I don't freaking care. I mean, that shit does add up. But it's really easy to not have kids nowadays. And I see more guys in the Marines that are awesome guys, but never dated. So something is wrong. But I think it's more cultural. Itorica. Yes, there is so much going on. Michael, have you noticed your spending habits have changed? No more discounts or looking for coupons. They're worthless. That's interesting, Michael. Yeah, and a lot of it makes me so mad when something's on sale and it's literally like 3 cents off. It's like, "Thanks. Thanks for taking 5 cents off that thing that's already overinflated and shrinkflation taking place too." Gen X seems to have a bigger problem with how uncultured everyone else is. Yes, edge of sound. So the thing that Etorka said, oh gosh, I have so much to say. Um it's so unnatural, like social media. I don't think it's just social media and the way we interact with computers. I think a lot of it is, and I could be wrong. Hi, Yasu, how are you? The Wi-Fi, the constant EMFs surrounding us. Just like think about, and I really don't want to make anybody feel bad, but I'm telling you, I know I have a smart meter still. I feel better when I'm not in a neighborhood where you get on your Wi-Fi and it's like dozens of possible connections. That don't tell me that that is good for the human body to be constantly bombarded by those kinds of things than to have less or none at all, you know? And I think it could be different with different people, but I think that there's things that are seriously like frying people's brains. And I talked about the individuation process. At its core, social media is stunting people's personal growth and causing them to not become the individuals that they would if they didn't have this crap where they post a picture and wait for people to press like and then just waste their time, myself included. I'm no better than anybody. I waste my time. I don't have anything but YouTube right now, but I'll still waste my time on the shorts. But I mean, it is a blessing to have like cute animal videos and stuff. Play or be an outcast, Gloom said. And it I tell my children so much, like, who wants to be normal, you know? Like, I know when you're younger, you feel so compared to everybody, but it's like normal people aren't where it's at, right? But it does seem to be more of the norm. I do get that. Like, I've noticed something, and I'm not shaming anybody, okay? Like, one of my sons drives, one of them doesn't. I've just noticed a lot of younger people don't even want to drive, and that's fine. If you don't want to drive if you're younger, that's fine. I think that's good to know yourself and know you don't want to drive. But I do think it's interesting and kind of a sign of everything that, like, a lot of people in that whole people don't want to work. I think a lot of it is they don't see a point in making minimum wage, and I don't blame them. And everything costs so much, and you go to work. A lot of people can't afford the transportation, the car. I mean, think about I bought a car for $500 when I was 17 years old. And I did need to put work into it, but it's like, I guess you could do that now. It still wouldn't be no $3,000 for a completely new motor, rebuilt transmission, new radiator, a bunch of new stuff. Capitalism is over. And the 9 to 5 religion is at an end. Yes, gloom, corporatism now, it is crazy how I was thinking this a lot with my last job experience. Why aren't there more part-time factory and warehouse jobs? You think places like that would love to have more of a reason to give less people benefits, you know, like time workers. And a lot of these places, I worked at one car manufacturing plant. The guy called me after I left and he's like, I just want to pick your brain about like why the turnover rate is so high. I thought you might he knew I was a fucking talker. He was also somebody that complimented me on my ability to interview. But he's like, why is the turnover rate so high? I'm like, oh my gosh. The hours are a little crazy. The attendance policy was crazier. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to put this charger on my phone. It's really annoying. It's like a magnetic thing. I need to go soon. Anyways, why don't more of these places have part-time positions? Like, I think that they would have people that were able, and there is always going to be people that want to work the full time to get the health insurance and the benefits, right? Like, it's just interesting to me. It's like they've set it up to where, like, if you want to make a living wage, and this is like living wage for us as homeowners, I still 18.50 an hour isn't enough for a lot of people in a lot of places. It barely is for us, you know, and our mortgage is, like, cheap, and, um Anyways, it's like they have it calculated to a point. Like I said, it's like you want to like make barely a living wage, you're going to have to work your ass off at a job and do overtime. Most likely you're going to have to work 50 hours plus to make enough, which is, usually around 1,000. Most of us need around 1,000 a week. We'd be fine. I know some people need more than that. Like these apartments that are like $1,800 a month and they want you to make 3 times the rent. How many people make that much money? Good for you if you do. Kids are so confused, want to fit in, even if it's destructive being of the new norm. Michael, yeah, I feel so bad for young people now. And why be busy and poor when you can be lazy and poor at work? I said, exactly, exactly. I looked up some small town jobs recently and researched who owned them, BlackRock and Vanguard, in a small town under 5,000. Yeah, gloom. Adirondack, how are you? Part-time, LOL, because at factories you make 2.6K for doing nothing but pushing a button. No person is not doing it full-time. 18 wasn't good 20 years ago. Oh, I've had factory jobs that were as easy as pushing a button, but the vast majority of jobs at factories aren't that the whole time. You know what I mean? Even if you do push a button, it's like for a few hours. There's a lot more going on than that. Um, 2.6K for doing nothing. No person is not doing it full-time. Well, I think that there would be plenty of people that would love to make 18 to $20 an hour, 15 to 20 hours a week, maybe 30, just because they want to make more money. I think there would be a lot of people that would be down for that. There was a woman that was like coming from a gas station, and that's what she was saying. She made $10 an hour at the gas station she worked at. And she's like, they cut my hours. And I'm like, who can live off of $10 an hour, 20 hours of it? And then people will think, oh, you don't have to do that. Like, you're just like a loser. Flipping burgers is for kids and like all that jazz. But like, you depend on all of it too. Everybody's saying that, like, unless you live like a nomad off the land, you hunt for your food and shit, which nobody does that. You depend on people that are pushing those buttons that want to work the crappy jobs that you look down upon. And I'm not saying that to Adirondack, but just in general, people who have an attitude about blue collar workers, like, well, if it's not enough money, just like go get another job. Like it's that easy. And since COVID, some industries that people like, yeah, there's a lot of money. And but a lot of people, like, when it comes to medical, I don't see how, and it's the same kind of thing. They make you work. I'm sure there's exceptions, but they make you work these crazy shifts. Yeah, there's good money in being a nurse, and you're gonna work crazy shifts and crazy hours and inhumane things, like 1 week on, 1 week off. I think stuff like that, it might be suitable for some people, but I think a lot of it is a method of control, just like daylight savings is a way to control us. I live in the middle of nowhere and factories pay $30 an hour. Oh, good for you, Adirondack. They definitely don't pay that here unless you're like a welder or something. You have some specialty. We need to hibernate in the winter. We need to educate our own children. The system is a lie and is corrupt. Yes, Gloom. This change of seasons when and I don't live off the land, but when you live more self-sustainably, like it really is the way you're supposed to live, because you do bust your butt so much that like the winter is welcomed. And the same thing how chickens stop laying when there's shorter daylight hours. It's just amazing. It's like nature is built to rest in the winter time. Save the children, save the world. I completely agree. Gloom. Welding is only 22 an hour here, Idorka said. Yeah, I don't think I've seen any actual $30 an hour jobs. Well, it was fun talking to you guys. I always have fun talking to you, and I do plan on going live more. I took a few days. I've been working on stuff. I'm gonna have videos out this week, but I still feel like I'm like, not that I'm half-ass in my attempt to do it, but then like when I just feel like my videos are not as good as other YouTubers. I know they're not. And then I'm like, I just need to keep making them and practice and I'll get better, but I don't feel like I am. But anyways, hey Pyramid, how are you doing? I saw you earlier and you didn't answer me back. But this subject of telling people, like, to have kids or not to have kids, it's like very hyperbolic the way that Isabel, like, I know that that's part of YouTube. That's just the way things are in order to get in the algorithm. But there is a lot of oh yeah, Erica Kirk and Drewski. I'm sure you've all heard about this and it's old news. People making 30 plus an hour seem to be pretty content with their life. I noticed Mr. Moneymaker said, yeah, that would be nice. Greg said, great job. Thanks for talking and responding to my comments. Of course, a Torka. I try to respond to everybody. $22 here is cleaning crap from horse stalls, Adirondack. Well, that's nice. So it's really funny. A comedian Drewski dressed up like Erica Kirk without ever saying her name in the skit, but it was obvious it was her to everybody, and it's gotten hundreds of millions of views. And Erica Kirk asked Elon Musk to take it down. She's like, "You need to take this down," and he said, "That's not the way this platform works. Obviously, like this is X. That's the whole point." And I think that they can dish it out, but they can't take it. You know, they want to be the martyrs of something. They want to tell everybody how to live their lives. But then whenever somebody has something to say back into response to their public statements and their public actions, then they like take offense to that. If I ever had a parody like that, I would seriously, I would look at that like I made it. Like I know I'm never going to be as famous as like Erica Kirk, nor do I want to be. But in the YouTube space, if they like, if somebody like made fun of me or made like a video, I have had a lady put me in one of her videos that was like doing a reaction video to like a thing that I was talking about, which was cool, and she was really sweet, and she was a smaller YouTuber too. But like if somebody like straight up made a parody of me, I'd be like, this is all like that's when you know you've made it, right? Like if you're on SNL, somebody makes fun of you on SNL, like usually the person's like, haha, yeah. But like it's funny that she took such offense and trying to play the like grieving widow card when the whole point is she wore that out so badly. She was so egregiously not grieving that she blew all of that. Everybody, myself included, wanted to think that everybody grieves differently. That's what we all tell ourselves all the time, right? Everybody grieves differently. She's allowed to grieve however she wants. But like she made it obvious with the pyrotechnics and all, you know, straight up glee that like something we're living in a movie like this timeline. If you would like some pointers, I can email constructive criticism. I have helped channels grow in the past and offers there. Glam, I would love your constructive criticism. You can comment me anything you want to. If you'd rather email me, my email is in the description. I always want to say, and then I'm like, I think it's little Kentucky at proton.me, but I have it in my description. That was Erica. Adirondack said, "Me, I don't like the camera." Grand Glam said, "The guy next to me said if brains were dynamite, you wouldn't have enough to blow your nose." About me or about you? Melted. Well, like I've said before, I really don't. I was always so shy and introverted. I didn't talk until I got a job. Like I literally refuse. I didn't like talk at school hardly at all. And then once I got out of my shell a little bit, so many people commented like, "Oh, I didn't know you could talk." Because I was a waitress, you know, and you can't like not talk to people when you're a waitress. But looking back, and now, you know, like I said, my youngest kid is like level 3 autism. I'm like, I think I was definitely on the spectrum for a lot of reasons. And my sensory issues have only gotten worse the older I get, but that's another conversation. And I also think that has something to do with like your it could have something to do with your nervous system and like autoimmune shit. But anyways, I love you all and I anybody's constructive criticism. I hope you all know that like I yeah, I would suggest anybody that has any to just leave it wherever they want. I mean, you can always email me anything. And I guess I've said everything I wanted to. I don't want to go. You are kind. The people brought that out talking. Oh, thanks, Michael. Yeah, I know that I am sincerely caring and I do care about people. And I see the sentiment a lot. When people ask, how are you? They don't care. I don't care. Why do we have to have these meaningless conversations where we're asking each other how we that is so sad. When I ask people how they are, I genuinely want to know how they are. And I want you to be genuine back with me and tell me if you're having a shitty day or going through something, you know? I want us to have the kind of community where it's like we were talking about earlier, some men have been told by a lot of women that they can't be vulnerable and open up and why that's like a negative thing. See, that's part of my sensory issues is my hair. I don't wear my hair down that much. I wear it down on camera so much more than in real life. This like one little strand, it will bother me so much and it didn't used to be like that. But same thing with a lot of stuff. Like waistbands are really hard for me. So, I hope to get back on here tomorrow night, but I'm not guaranteeing it. But yes, I'm gonna have some edited videos up starting tomorrow, and I seriously, like, don't hold back. Feel like, especially if you have a recommendation of editing software, I'd really appreciate it. Oh my gosh, I uploaded a shorts today. I have no idea. There was like a man's voice in it. I have no idea what that was from. My husband wasn't watching something, there was no TV on. I have no idea where that came from. That was weird. But I'm trying to get more footage of my dogs because they're just like so goofy and fun. And like I want them to be a bigger part of the channel. So I promise more to come. Oh, Greg, thank you for saying that. I love you guys. Thank you, Michael. I had it in a fishtail braid yesterday. That's why it's like these really little waves. But anyways, I love you all. I hope you have a good night. Bye.